This is the Honda City second generation, produced between 2003 and 2008. Naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, 4-valve, 1.3 liter engine. So this is the second generation Honda City from 2004. This is the dolphin shaped body version of it, and it was sold from 2003 all the way till 2008. Now this particular version is the 1.3 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder 4-valve petrol engine. At the front you can see the grille is not that big of as such, and the fog lamps are also kind of a miss over here. The grille however is a nice smiley shape. You have a nice chrome strip at the top, and below down you have the Honda logo. The headlights over here are kind of faded away. The outer covering of it is kind of rough, but still you can see they are clear halogen headlamps. The turn indicators, the high beam and the low beams and all. So talking about the side profile of the vehicle, it's a pretty sleek looking vehicle, I'd say. I kind of actually dig this vehicle. Not many people like it, but to me personally this variant of it kind of hits the spot. Now it was called as the dolphin shape, the dolphin city, because kind of resembled like the front fascia of a dolphin. But it was a really successful vehicle back in the day when it was launched in between 2003 and 2008. At the side, if we go to see, there are halogen turn indicators. Yeah, all the bulbs and lights over in this vehicle, and also at that time mostly were halogen bulbs.
Talking about the alloys, these are 14-inch alloys. Yeah, they are 14 inches, not 15 inches, like you all might have guessed. Yeah, vehicles at that time used to get 15 inches. But the ground clearance of this vehicle, it's a pretty decent size, I'd say. Like if you go to see my hand, it's around this much. Like it's a pretty nice gap over here. You can clear potholes and other stuff pretty easily from beneath the vehicle.
So now talking about the rear styling of this vehicle, I really do dig about the rear quarters of this sedan, as I told you all at the start. These LEDs, these tail lights actually do remind me somewhat about the Mercedes compressor that you used to get back in the day in 2012, 2013. But yeah, these do look really good, really proportionate on this vehicle. I personally do not like the ones that were, the tail lights that were extended from here to here. It kind of looked a bit odd to me. But yeah, the rear styling is really elegant. At the back, you just like at the front, you have a chrome strip running straight across above the number plate, and obviously being a sedan, it does not get a rear wiper because aerodynamic shape, it brushes off the water droplets with air. At the bottom you have a silencer which is real, unlike the fakery going on in today's time. The boot of the Honda City, it's a fairly large boot area, I'd say. Come on, look at the amount of space. Yeah, there are some stuff lying over there, I'm sorry, but still, this is a pretty large boot. It's around 500 liters. It's around between 400 to 500 liters of space, but still that's a pretty huge amount of space. So talking about the space and amenities and features at the rear, getting in and out is pretty good, I'd say. As you all can see, there is ample amount of knee room and leg room. I can tuck my feet underneath over here pretty well, and the knee room is generous, I'd say. Now the door, yeah, it shuts with a proper third. These are kind of a soft touch cloth like material. You have all four power windows over here and a halogen interior light. Also there are grab rails, 1, 2, even for the driver, to be honest, and it's a really good addition, because nowadays really don't get grab handles for drivers. It's a really cheap way of cost cutting the manufacturers do, and also for the co-passenger. Now talking about comfort, yeah, you get a center armrest with
no cup holders. It's just a single piece fold down armrest, and the headroom over here is pretty generous, I'd say. It's about this much. I'm being a 5'8" guy, pretty reasonably comfortable over here, but guys like 5'9", 5'10", or even 6-footers might be in a little bit of a squeeze back here. The driver's seat of the Honda City second gen. Yeah, the door third, it's something to dig about. Yeah, you get an ESP, that is electric power steering. Yeah, this is an electric power steering. The padding over here, just like at the back, it's pretty similar to it. You get cloth like soft touch-ish material. It's beneath this, it's hard hard plastic, but still at the top you get a cloth like soft touch material. No padding at the armrest. You get a decent sized bin recess area over here. There are 4 controls. One is for the driver side window, co-passenger, and the rear passengers. Only the driver side window is automatic, and not the other windows. Yeah, only the driver's side is automatic. Talking about the steering wheel, it's pretty good. There is no leatherette upholstery covered shenanigans like you get in most cars recently, but this is a pretty basic steering wheel, I'd say. But it's that doesn't mean it's a bad steering wheel. It's a really good steering wheel. Talking about the dials over here, the dials are finished in chrome, in chrome surroundings. The speedometer actually goes to 220 kilometers per hour, even though the top speed is, I guess, till 180, 190 kilometers per hour, I guess. The rev counter, it goes all the way till 7,000 RPM. I mean, technically 6,000 RPM, but hey, the number says 7,000, so why not also call it a 7,000 RPM red line, right? Okay, you get all your telltale lights at the center. Like, wait, I'll show y'all. Yeah, you'll get all the telltale lights at the bottom of the speedos. The AC vents, you have the blower speed control over here. You can shut it or open it, and you get 1, 2, 3, 4 of the AC vents. Yeah, this is a Pioneer aftermarket infotainment system. You get a rear windshield defroster, your mode for selecting whether you want the fresh air from outside or for recirculation, turning on and off the AC, your blower controls, your climate mode controls, your temperature settings, that is set to the lower setting. Over here you get a 12-volt socket. Also it changes to a cigarette lighter. You get over here an ashtray, and also at the back, actually you also get an ashtray at the back. Below here you get a storage compartment. Now this storage compartment particularly I really like, because you can shut it closed, you can open it, and also right now if y'all can see 2 cup holders, but if y'all want a bigger storage area, just push this in and now you have a bigger storage cabin. So this is a pretty ingenious type of kit right here. You get a 5-speed manual gearbox. You can see this is a little bit worn out, I'd say, but still it's a pretty slick gearbox. You get a manual handbrake, I guess phone storage, I'd say, but yeah, that's reasonably deep-ish cubby hole right there, and two cup holders. The door bins actually are pretty shallow, to be honest, because there are no such bottle holders as such in the door bins like you get in most other vehicles. And also at the back there are no storage bins, no door pockets at all. So yeah, there's a sheer lack of door pockets in the Honda City second gen. And talking about the other amenities, you get over here a glove box at the top, also at the bottom. Yeah, so it's pretty practical over here. And yeah, your hazard light switch over here. So yeah, now let's get on with driving the Honda City second generation 1.3 liter petrol.
So driving the Honda City second generation 1.3 liter 4 cylinder 4 valve petrol. It's a really long name, but hey, come on. The first Honda City that was launched in India around the end of the 1990s. It was actually at the end of the 1990s. It was a revolution in India, to be honest, especially for all the enthusiasts in the country, because it was a total enthu cutlet, I'd say. But yeah, it was a really significant car to change and revolutionize the Indian car culture at a whole. To be honest, not just a particular community or something, but the whole car culture. It kind of revolutionized because the amount of love that vehicle, the first Honda City, got, I really don't think so any vehicle will ever get, because because there were many things that made the first Honda City special. Firstly, it was 100.6 horsepower vehicle. It was less than a ton, meaning it was really lightweight, and combined the very high power to weight ratio of the vehicle, and also with the 100 horsepower. It was a rocket ship. I mean, not rocket ship, but rocket ship. You get it, right? So combined with the low weight meaning it was less than 1,000 kgs, and also the 100.6 horsepower meant that it had a very good power to weight ratio, which meant that it could go from 0 to 100 in less than 10 seconds. And for that time, for the early 2000s, India had never seen a car, especially at the lower end of the price spectrum, to do a sub 10 second 0 to 100. I mean, that was a totally fascinating and jaw dropping thing, to be honest. So it even today, the benchmark is less than 10 seconds. Any car doing 100 less than 10 seconds means that it is a fast car. So yeah, so enough of the first gen Honda City. Let's talk about the second gen, the dolphin faced Honda City. So Honda actually did the total opposite of what the first generation Honda City meant, meaning this car was more than 1,000 kgs, and it really did not have that oomph and that punch that the first gen Honda City actually got. Because this car, although some variants of it, like I guess the 1.5 liter VTEC, it got, like the later versions of it had got 115, 120 horsepower something, but still it did not have the oomph of the first Honda City. Firstly, because it had increased in weight, meaning that the power to weight ratio was worse than the first gen, and also because it kind of lacked in the other features, the other characteristics that made the Honda City, meaning the enthusiast car. For instance, the low sitting posture, the low stance of the first gen Honda Civic was totally gone for a toss with the second generation, because this one is a slightly raised up, slightly higher vehicle. Secondly, the first gen Honda City was its primary job of the primary function of the first gen Honda City was performance. This, on the other hand, especially with the 1.3 liter petrol engine, although 4 cylinders, but still 1.3 liter, its main job was to focus on comfort and reliability. I mean, come on, the Hondas were reliable from the very start, but still, the second gen Honda City focused more on comfort and reliability compared to the first one, as the first one was mainly focused on performance, and this was the total opposite of it. So it led many of the car enthusiasts down when it launched, to be honest. But still, while we are saying, we meaning we car enthusiasts were unhappy, Honda knew the market, the Indian market actually very well compared to us, because this second gen Honda City was a huge meaning huge success for the Honda sales team, because of this whole shift of focus from performance to comfort. The sales charts were on fire, to be honest. Like they were selling like hot cakes, because most of the Honda owners, as this was not a cheap car. This was not a cheaply priced car. This costed a pretty significant amount of money, to be honest. And the most of the people that bought this car at that time were executives, or people that mostly didn't drive their cars. They mostly like to be chauffeur driven around at that time. So Honda catered to that audience more than compared to the enthusiastic audience, and meaning due to this, it completely obliterated the sales of the first Honda City, and it really sold like hotcakes. So how did the second generation Honda City perform? So yeah, as y'all can see the camera shaking. The suspension is kind of stiff, but still it is comfortable. It is much more cushioned than the first gen Honda City, because as I said earlier, it was more catered towards the executive, the chauffeur driven kind of audience. But still, it was a pretty because Honda has that thing where they like to keep the suspension of the vehicles a bit stiffer. Maybe because of the handling aspect, but still I don't know. But still, they like to keep their suspension a little bit stiff than usual compared to the other competitive cars. But the kind of stiff setup of the vehicle meant that it handles pretty good, to be honest, because it doesn't lean that much in the bends, even though it has got I won't say a huge ground clearance, but it is significantly higher than the first Honda City. Still, it is a pretty reasonably good handler, I'd say. Now, if you want to do it on a highway, it has a punch, but still, it has a good low end. But if you want to make overtakes, you'll have to downshift the gears. It is not like you float the throttle on the same gear and then it completely launches, because it's not a VTEC. It is, I guess, it's an iVTEC or something that is not a VTEC. I can say that with confidence. So yeah, so it is not that I'd say it doesn't have those characteristics that the first city had, but still it absorbs potholes and rough roads okay-ish, I'd say, because as I said earlier, it caters to a different audience than the first gen Honda City did. So the first gen Honda City did it in less than 10 seconds, 0 to 100, but this one did it in, I guess, 12 to 14 seconds, if I'm not wrong. This particular car, this has 100 horsepower. Around, I guess it is 77. It is between 77 to 100. I don't know the exact figure. I researched it about a lot, but I'm not getting exact figures. But it is between this ballpark. This and coupled with the increased weight of this thing, it meant that it obviously was slower to 0 to 100. So the refinement levels actually in this car are decent, I'd say. Yeah, the engine does vibrate. It has that sort of a harshness to it when you rev it too hard, but at idle speeds, it's really at idle revs, it's really not that loud. It's not that rumbly. It is good, but once you get past, I guess, 3000, 2000 RPM, it really sings. Sings in the sense, not in a good way. It has vibrations, I'd say. So this vehicle, it is actually pretty fun to drive, I'd say, because the handling of this vehicle, it is nice. It is really sweet, because as I said earlier, the stiff suspension of this vehicle makes it a really good handler. It really does. It really adds to the experience. Yeah, it makes you uncomfortable sometimes over harsh potholes or undulations over the roads, but It's one way or the other. You sometimes cannot have both. You can have both. Like for example, if you put adaptive dampers or airbags over it, that's gonna increase the cost of the vehicle. So you have to trade one thing on the other when you are at the lower price spectrum. So this is a kind of a decent, acceptable-ish mixture of both comfort and handling, I'd say, because yeah, it is not that comfortable. It really not is that comfortable because the suspension is stiff. But the good thing, the brighter side to that is that the handling really is good. The handling of this, it's really good due to the stiff suspension. As I said earlier, Honda likes to keep their suspensions a bit stiff, and that's evident even in this vehicle. Now I know some people they put new coilovers. Some people also put adaptive dampers, airbags. But I'd say if I had Honda City, if I had a Honda City personally, if I had owned one, I'd keep it on the stock suspension because for me, I like to corner. I like to take corners at reasonably. I wouldn't say high speeds, but on a reasonably uh, high speeds. But yeah. So due to that, I'd like to keep the stock suspensions. I'd like to keep the stock coils. It is really fun. It is really fun. And when you give it the beans, when you ring it, it really it really, for me at least, it brings a smile to my face because the way it pulls when you downshift, like for example when you're overtaking on a corner, you are overtaking on a highway and you downshift and you to flow the throttle. It goes because it has that punch. It has that lower end punch that especially helps you in overtaking while you downshift on a highway. It really brings a smile to my face. Yeah, it is stiff, I know, but it is good. That's my personal preference, though. Some people might agree, some people won't. But hey, you have a choice. I personally do like it. I really do. And trust me, I have driven cars with modified suspension. I really have. But this, it's really good. It's really very good. Yeah, it is. When you corner at higher speeds, you have that body roll. Okay, you do have the body roll is very evident. You do have a body roll, but the thing is now that the body roll just adds to the play. It really does add to the play. The body roll is not that kind of a body roll that you might face when you do the same thing with a SUV or with a significantly much more raised up vehicle. But there is a fair bit because the center of gravity. This is a higher car compared to the first generation Honda City. So that generally means that its center of gravity is a little bit further up than the low stanced first generation City. So naturally, it will have a body roll. All cars do, but the thing that separates them is their center of gravity. Each car has a separate center of gravity. This is a little bit higher compared to the first gen City. It's not that sort of a body roll that you'll fear that, oh my god, is it gonna topple up, is it gonna turtle on me? No, it won't, because it is reasonably flat around the bends. Talking about the fuel efficiency of this vehicle, see, I'll give you an honest opinion. If you ring, not only this vehicle, if any vehicle, if you give the beans, stiff suspension again, so if you give it the beans, if you ring it hard, yes, it will drop to 10, 11, 12. But if you drive it carefully, if you are careful with your throttle inputs, and really careful, okay, with your gear shifts, when do you downshift, what revs do you downshift, okay, if you are careful with that, if you judge that properly, this will return you around 15, 16, maybe even 17 sometimes. But if you are gentle with the throttle, in bold statements, in open quotes, okay. But on an average city and highway, yeah, you will get around, I'd say between 12 to 15, 12 to 14 is the ballpark where you get your otherwise average. The steering feedback is actually really very precise because I really know where the wheels are. Of course, it is not as precise as the hydraulic steering wheel because it really gives you a good feel where the wheels are when you are turning. But still, I've said earlier, the steering needs to be put a bit more effort. But that in return gives you a great feel and feedback where the wheels are, turning, what level of grip do you have, how much can you turn, etc. So it is a really nice steering wheel. It's a really nice steering wheel. Yeah. The clutch pedal also actually it has a bit of a travel. I won't say it's long. It is recently traveled, but still, sometimes you have to really dig in the foot to get it to slot the shifts into gear. The clutch is actually light, to be honest, because I have a Renault Duster also, which is from the same, almost the same era as this is. Actually, not the same. It's a few, is a reasonable years apart, but still, it really has a long clutch travel. It really do. It really does. Which and it has a long clutch travel. Also, it has a bit of a heavy clutch. I'd say the clutch is heavy. So that's it. The Honda City second generation 1.3 liter naturally aspirated petrol. Thank you so much for watching the video till the end, and if you enjoyed it then please like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.